Hello students, welcome back. This is Mrs. Mercado. This is a lecture over chapter 6 which deals with inventories. Now this lecture is for my Accounting 2401 course which is Principles of Financial Accounting, and the textbook that we are using is Financial and Managerial Accounting 15th edition. Okay. Now this chapter is one of my favorite chapters. I love dealing with inventories. In this particular chapter, we are going to learn about 3 different inventory methods, which are the first in, first out, which is FIFO, the last in, first out, which is LIFO, and the weighted average cost method. Okay. Before you attempt any of your problems, please make sure to read. Okay, there's a lot of information being covered in this chapter, a lot of illustrations. Do not skip that part, please. I've been having students, message me or call me that they're lost. But once I start either reviewing their work or, looking at their concerns, those are concerns that can easily be addressed by reading the chapter. Okay, so do not get any shortcuts. Don't try to solve the problem without reading the content first. Okay, I am not going to cover the definitions or what these are. By now, you should have read the chapter and you should know what I'm talking about because you've read the content, okay? So, I'm just going to dive right in because these problems are a little bit long, okay? So, don't get any anxiety over them because they are lengthy, but they're fairly easy to do, okay? Once we understand what we're doing, okay? So, I'm going to go over 2 problems today. The first one is exercise 613. And the other one is problem 6.5. Okay, so let's do the exercise first. And I like this problem because this problem puts together the 3 different inventory methods, which is FIFO, LIFO, and weighted average. Okay, so the problem reads, periodic inventory by 3 methods. Cost of goods sold. So it says the units of an item available for sale during the year were as follows. And then they give you different transactions during the year. The first one we have is January 1st. That's your beginning inventory. That's what you had left over from, the prior year. We had 180 units at $108. Then we purchased some more items on March the 10th. We purchased 224 units at $110. Then on August the 30th, we purchased an additional 200 units at $116. And then finally on December the 12th, we purchased 196 units at $120. Okay, so it says here that there are 208 units of the item in the physical inventory at December the 31st. So what does that mean? That means that, I started with my beginning inventory and I had purchases during the year. Just like I had purchases, I also had sales. I was buying and selling, right? So at the end of the year, on December the 31st, I had 208 units available in my inventory. Okay, that's what I had in my inventory. Okay, the periodic inventory system is used. We have to determine the ending inventory cost and the cost of goods sold by the 3 methods, okay? And they're asking us to present the information in this specific format, okay? Which is what I have set up here. I have the FIFO, LIFO, and weighted average, my ending inventory, and my cost of goods sold. Now, below that, I have where I'm going to be doing my calculations. So I'm going to be filling in the answers up here, but this is where I'm going to be calculating all of my numbers. That way you see how those numbers are obtained, okay? Just for purposes of illustration, okay? And hopefully it'll provide you with information and you can easily understand inventories, okay? So we have 208 units left. Now we have to figure out how much are those 208 units worth using the 3 methods, and how much is it that I sold during the year. Okay, so we're going to calculate our cost of goods sold and our ending inventory. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate my cost of goods available for sale. Okay, what did I have available during the year to sell? Okay, so the problem starts off with you have beginning inventory of 180 units at 108. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do 180 units at $108. Okay, now we're going to get our calculators out and we're going to figure that out. So it's 180 times 108. That gives me 19,440. Okay. Let me just put some commas in here. It just makes it clearer for me. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for our next transaction. We purchased 224 units at $110. Okay. Now, because I am using Excel, I can just use the calculator within here. I can calculate 224 times 110. That gives me 24,640. Okay. And then I have 200 units. And all I'm doing is grabbing this information right here. 200 units at $116. Okay. So that's going to be 200 units times $116. That's 23,200. And then the last purchase we have is on December. We have 196 units at $120. Okay. So that will be 196 units times $120. That's 23,520. So how many units do I have? Well, I started off with 180, then I bought 224, then I bought 200, then I bought 196. So I had a total of 800 units. Okay, of 800 units. Okay, how much did I pay for those 800 units? Well, I'm going to add all of my four amounts right here. Okay, you're going to add your 19,440, 24,640, 23,200, and 23,520. You add those two together and it gives you 90,800. Okay, so that is our cost of goods available for sale. That is what we had available during the year to sell. Now, we did sell some of these units because, we had 800 and we're only left with 208. So the key information here is, how many units do I have left? I have left 208 units. Okay, that's very important. Super important that we know how many units we had. We had 208 units left as of the end of the year. Okay, so now that we know this information, we know how much we had available for sale. We had 800 units valued at 90,800. I know I have 208 of those units left. Now we need to figure out what those units, the ending inventory value is, and my cost of goods sold is, using the three different inventory methods. Okay, so first in, first out. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, and I like to use plain terms. Okay, I'm just very basic in my head. What does FIFO mean? Okay, FIFO means you're gonna sell the oldest units and you're gonna keep the newest. Okay, so when I do this, I like to put it out there. Okay, because I like to talk to myself a lot. Okay, so I say, okay, well, what is FIFO? First in, first out. You sell your oldest, you keep the newest. That's what it means. Okay, so if I have 208 units left in my inventory, which one am I going to keep? Well, you're going to keep the newest units. So we're going to go here and we're going to start from our newest units because those are the ones we're keeping, and we're trying to calculate my ending inventory. How much are those 208 units worth? I know I need to keep my newest units, and my newest units are the ones I purchased on December the 16th. So on December the 16th, and I'm just going to put it here, I'm sorry, December the 12th, okay? On December the 12th, okay, I had 196 units at $120, okay? Why did I pick these? Because these are my newest units. I keep the newest. Okay, so I'm focused right now on what am I keeping. We're keeping the newest units. So then that's going to be 196 times 120. That's going to give me 23,520. So the problem says that I have 208 units remaining, 208. I know that I kept all of the units from my December 12th purchase, which were 196. So I know I need to keep 12 units from my next newest items, okay? So my next newest were my August 30 purchase, okay? How many units do I need to make up my 208? Well, I need 12 more units. So I'm going to get now 12 units at $116. So that's going to be 12 units times 116. That's going to be 1,392. Okay, So that's going to give me 196 plus 12. That's going to give me 208 units, which is what I have left, which is awesome. Okay, so I have 208 units left. And then those 208 units are valued at, we're going to add those two together, 24,912. Okay, 24,912. Okay, so that is how I calculate my ending inventory. Okay, my 208 units that I have left at the end of the year are my newest units. I had 196 units from December the 12th, and then I had 12 units from August the 30th purchase. Okay, and then those two combined give me the 208 units that I have left, with a value of 24,912. That is how much my 208 units that I have left in my warehouse are valued at. Okay, so if I have 24,912 in my warehouse, then what is my cost of goods sold? So your cost of goods sold is going to be your cost of goods available for sale, which we calculated right here. Your 90,800. Let me draw like a little arrow. That 90,000 is going to go over here. Okay. So your cost of goods sold is going to be the 90,800 minus what you still have left on your warehouse. How much do you have left? You have left the 24,912. Okay. And then let me do another little arrow here just to kind of like for clarity purpose. Okay. Okay. So it's going to be your cost of goods available for sale total, 90,800, minus what you have left in your ending inventory as of December the 31st using the FIFO method, which is 24,912, which is what we calculated. So therefore, my cost of goods sold is going to be 90,800 minus 24,912. So my cost of goods sold is going to be 65,888. Okay. So I've calculated both my ending inventory. I have 208 units left, and those 208 units are my newest units, and those are valued at 24,912. My cost of goods sold, this is what you have actually sold, you no longer have. Well, I had 90,800 available, and then I have 24,912 remaining in my warehouse, so that means I must have sold 65,888. Once we do these calculations, we can come up here and we can fill in the blanks. So my ending inventory is going to be your 24,912. Your cost of goods sold is going to be your 65,888. Okay. So that is the first one. Remember, FIFO, you sell the oldest, you keep the newest. Okay. Now we're gonna do last in. I'm sorry, I transposed last in. It should be first out. I was just copying and pasting. Okay. Last in, first out. There we go. LIFO. Last in, first out. Okay. So, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to calculate our how much are 208 units valued using the LIFO method. Now, for the LIFO method, we sell the newest and we keep the oldest. Okay? So, I am interested in figuring out how much are my ending inventory, and in this case, I am keeping my oldest units. So now this is the reverse. You're selling your new and you're keeping your old. Okay? So, we still have to come up with 208 units. Okay? Now you're going to keep your oldest units. Okay? So we're going to go back and we're going to see what my oldest units are. And my oldest units are my beginning inventory. That's what I had left over from last year. Because under the LIFO method, I keep my oldest and I sell my newest. I'm going to keep those still in my shelf. Okay? So I've got 180 units at 108. Those are my oldest. I'm going to keep those. So I've got 180 at 108. So that's going to be 180 times 108. That's going to be 19,440. And remember, We need to reach that 208 unit mark. That's how many units we have left at the end of the year. So we have 208 units, and I'm going to subtract my beginning inventory, which was 180. So that means I still need 28 units to go. Okay, 28 units to go, and this is my beginning inventory. Okay, so my next oldest batch is this one right here from March the 10th. And I've got 224 units at $110 a piece. We don't need all of them. We only need 28 units. So it'll be 28 units at $110. And this is March the 10th. Okay. This is March the 10th. Okay. So I needed 28 units. And they were $110 a piece. So let's see what that gives us. 28 times 110. That gives me 3,080. Okay, so now I get my calculator out. So I've got 180 units from my beginning inventory, 28 units from my March 10th. I've got 208. Perfect. That is how many units I should have, because those 208 units should tie back, always tie back to what they tell you have left on the problem. Okay. So you've got 208, like if you see here, you've got 208 right there, okay? So I've got 208 units, but now if you use the LIFO method, how much are they valued at? Okay, if you add those two together, it gives you 22,520, okay? So if you compare, if you use FIFO, they're going to be valued at 24,912. If you use LIFO, they're going to be valued at 22,520. It just depends which one are you keeping. Are you keeping the old or are you keeping the new? Okay. So now that we've got that going, we can calculate your cost of goods sold. And your cost of goods sold, remember, you start off with the 90,800, which is the total cost of goods available for sale, the 90,800. You always start with that. Okay. And then you subtract your ending inventory, which is the 22,520. Okay. Okay. So then that's going to give me 90,800 minus 22,520, 68,280. Okay. So now that we've calculated this, we can go and we plug it in. So it's 22,520 and 68,280. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to link it. That way I know where I'm getting these numbers. It'll be 22,520 and then it'll be 68,280. Okay. So I've already filled those out. Okay. Now we're going to go to the weighted average cost method. Okay. So for the weighted average cost method, we are going to get the total units that we had, okay, which were 800 units. And the total goods available for sale were 90,800. So we're going to get those and we're going to divide. Okay, I'm going to do my 90,800 and we're going to divide by, we had a total of 800 units. So let's see what we get. So we'll get 90,800 divided by 800 units. And that's going to give me a per unit of 113.50. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to do another run right down here so I can do my calculations. Okay. So this is my unit cost, 113.50. So how many units do I have left? Well, we should have left 208 units at 113.50, which we just calculated. And we calculated this, remember, by getting your 90,800 divided by the 800 units, the cost of goods available for sale. Okay. So then that's going to give you 208 times 113.50, 23,608. Okay. That is going to be your ending inventory value. Okay. Using the weighted average cost method. So what we did here, we got an average of the total that we spent divided by the total units that we had to get an average cost. And then we apply that average cost to the number of units that we had left over, which was 208. and that will give us the 23,608. And remember, in all three scenarios, we always have to have 208 units. Okay, always. Or whatever number is there. Everybody's going to have a different problem in their homework. Whatever your ending total units is, all three scenarios should have 208 right there. Okay. Now for my cost of goods sold, once again, we're going to get our beginning cost, which was 90,800. And I'm going to subtract my ending inventory, which was 23,608. And that's going to give us 90,800 minus 23,608. That's going to give me 67,192. Okay. So now that I've calculated these numbers, I can plug them up over here, and I'm going to just link them right there. And then that way I don't transpose anything, because sometimes I make mistakes. Okay. So now we've completed the assignment. This is what they want us to fill in. We had to do all of these calculations to fill this in. Okay. And now you can compare using the FIFO method. My ending inventory would be valued at the highest at 24,912, and my cost of goods sold will be valued the lowest at 65,888. Using the last in first out method, my ending inventory will be valued the lowest at 22,520, and my cost of goods sold will be valued the highest at 68,280. Using the weighted average cost method, that gives you an in between the LIFO and FIFO. Okay. 23,608 for your ending inventory and 67,192 for your cost of goods sold. Okay, so this was an excellent example because we were able to calculate all three methods, both the ending inventory and the cost of goods sold. Okay, all of the calculations are included on how I arrived at each of those numbers. Okay, now this next problem that we're doing is a monster, problem 6.5. Okay. It might look difficult, but it's the same concept that we just did. Now we just have more transactions going on. Okay, this is more hands-on. You are going to see a problem similar to this on your test, so you need to master this problem. Okay, so this deals with periodic inventory, once again using the three methods. It says Dymac Appliances uses the periodic inventory system. Details regarding the inventory of appliances at January the 1st, purchase invoices during the next 12 months, and the inventory count at December the 31st are summarized as follows. And then they give you the different models for the appliances that they have, beginning inventory, first purchase, second purchase, third purchase, and this is how much they have left at the end of the year. This is super important. This is what we're basically trying to figure out. How much is that valued at? Okay, that is what we did not sell. That's what we still have at the end of the year. Let me just scoot this over here a little bit. Okay, so that is basically what we're trying to figure out. Okay, so instructions. The first requirement. Okay, determine the cost of the inventory on December the 31st by the first in, first out method. Present data in column 4 using the following headings. And they're wanting us to set it up like this. Model, quantity, unit cost, total cost. So I've already done that up here. Okay. So they're asking you to do the calculations using FIFO, first in, first out, LIFO, last in, first out, and then weighted average. Okay. Those are the first three requirements, and then they're asking us for a discussion. Okay, so let's focus on that first. Okay, so let's look at the data that we have. We have the different model numbers, beginning inventory if applicable, first purchase, second purchase, third purchase, and this is what we had left at the end of the year. Okay, so determine the cost of the inventory at December the 31st. So they're wanting to know, what is the cost of these 6 units, these 8 units, these 5 units, these 9 units, these 15 units, this 5 units, and this 8 units in total for this specific period? Okay, so remember, we're going to use the different methods. FIFO, and I'm just going to put it out here because I like to see it when I'm solving. Like I said, I talk to myself. I'm like, well, what does FIFO mean? First in, first out. So FIFO, you sell the oldest and you keep the newest. Okay, so the question here is I have 6 remaining. Which ones am I keeping? Well, according to this one, and I misspelled oldest, guys, oldest. There we go. So we are keeping the newest. Okay, so which one is my newest? Well, the beginning inventory is the oldest. Your third purchase is the newest. Okay, so this is the oldest. Let me see if I can write insert a text box. Let me see if I can do that here. So this is gonna be your oldest. Okay, and then I insert text box. Not there, sorry. Okay, and I'm gonna insert a text box, and then this is my third transaction is my newest. Okay, so your beginning inventory are your oldest, your third purchase are your newest. So we want to know which ones am I keeping. I'm keeping the newest. Okay, so we have 6 remaining. Okay, and we're gonna go model by model. Okay, so I'm going to start off with model A10. Okay, so model A10, I know I'm keeping the newest. The newest is 4 at 76. 4 at 76. So that's going to be 4 times 76. That's going to be $304. I know I need how many more? I have 6. I've already kept 4, so I need 2 more. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 more. My second newest is 4 at 70. So I'm going to use the 70 component here. I've got 4 available at $70. I'm only needing 2 of those. So it'll be 2 at 70. Okay, so these are the 6 I'm keeping for my A10. Okay, these are my newest units. Okay, I'm keeping 8. Now we're going to the next one. This is B15. For B15, I'm keeping 8 of my newest. So my newest is this one. So I've got 6 at 184. So that's going to be 1104. Okay, so now we're looking at model B15. So I have 8 remaining. So I'm going to keep 6 of the at 184. That's my newest. And then I'm going to move on to my second newest. And I need 2 more from this batch right here to complete my 8. Okay, so it'll be 2 more. And then that's 170. So that'll be 2 times 170. That'll be 340. Okay, now we're going to go to the next model, which is E60. Okay, for E60, I have 5 remaining. So I'm going to keep 5 of my newest. My newest batch is this one. So I have 9 at 70. I'm going to keep 5 of those. So I'm going to keep 5 at 70. That's going to give me 350. Okay. The next model I have is G83. Okay. For G83, I'm keeping 9. Okay, of my newest. So if I look at my newest batch, I've got 10 here. I'm keeping 9 of those. So I'm keeping 9 at 259. That will give me 2331. The next model I have is J34. So all I'm doing is I'm locating the ones I'm keeping, and I'm keeping my newest ones. These are my newest backwards. Newest, oldest. Okay. So for J34, I need 15. I've got 16 in my newest batch, so I'm going to keep 15 of those. So it'll be 15 at 270. That'll be 4050. Okay. The next one I have is M90. Okay. For M90, I'm keeping 5. Okay. I only have 3 in my third batch, so I'm going to keep those. 3 at 130. I need 2 more to complete my 5. So which ones are my next newest? Right here, the second purchase. So I need 2 more to complete my 5, and those are 2 at 128. That'll give me 256. Okay. Last but not least, I've got my Q70. Okay. For the Q70, I need 8. Okay. That's what I have left over. 8 units. Well, I'm keeping 7 for my third purchase. 7 at 180. 7 times 180. Okay. I need 1 more to complete my 8 that I have in my warehouse. So I'm going to get that 1 from my next newest, which is right here. So it'll be 1 at 175. I'm getting it from here to complete my 8 right there. One times 175. There we go. Now I can get my total. Okay. Let me just format this real quick. There we go. So, this is what I have left. I have left 56 units. These are the different models that I have, valued at $10,700. Okay, so my ending inventory, that's what they're wanting you to calculate here. What is the cost of your ending inventory? Well, the cost of my ending inventory is 56 units of these items, and it's valued at $10,700. Okay, using the FIFO method. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to use LIFO. Okay, LIFO stands for last in, first out. You're going to sell your newest and you're going to keep the oldest. So which one are we keeping in this scenario, guys? In this scenario, in the last in, first out, we are keeping our oldest units. Okay. Okay, so we're going to run through the same exercise, but now we're keeping our oldest. These are our oldest, and then these would our second oldest, third oldest, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the first one we have is model A10. Okay, for model A10, we've got 6. Okay, now for A10, I don't have any beginning inventory, so I skip that one. My oldest then becomes the first purchase. Okay, so I've got 4 units at $64. Okay, and then I need 2 more to complete my 6, so that means I have to go to my second purchase. Be 2 at $70. That'll be $140. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next model, which is B15. On B15, I have 8 units. Okay, so let's look at my oldest units. My oldest units are my beginning inventory, and guess what? I have 8 there. So I'm going to keep those 8 at 176. It's going to be 1408. Now I'm going to look at the third one, the third model, E60. And for E60, I have 5 units left. Okay, my oldest are these 3 at 75. 3 at 75. So that's going to be 225. I need 2 more to go. So which one's my next oldest? Well, my first purchase. So I need 2 more. So we have 3. I'm going to get 2 out of those. 2 times 65. 2 times 65. That'll be 130. Okay. We go to the next model. I've got 9 units left for G83. And I'm going to keep my oldest. I have 7 of my oldest, which are my beginning inventory. So I've got G83. Okay, and I have 7 at 242. That gives me 1694. Okay, I need 2 more. Okay, so I'm going to get those 2 from my next oldest, which is my first transaction. So I'm going to get 2 at 250. Okay. My next model is J34. Okay. For J34, I have 15 units. Okay. So I'm going to keep my oldest. I'm going to keep 12 of my oldest at 240. I need 3 more to complete my 15 units. So which one is my next oldest? Then my next oldest is this one right here. So I need, out of those 10, I need 3 more to complete my 15. Okay? So I need 3 at 246. Oh, sorry, I put the wrong number. 246. There we go. That'll give me 738. So now we move on to the next model, which is M90. Okay. For M90, I have 5 units left. So I'm going to keep 2 of my oldest, which is 2 at 108. I need 3 more. Okay, now for this one, we're going to have to use multiple ones. So I've got 2 from my beginning inventory. Now I need to get 2 from my first purchase. 2 at 110. I still have only 4 and I need 5. So I need to get another one from my next oldest, which is this category right here. We're doing M90. This category right here, 3 at 128. So I need 1 more of those. So it'll be 1 at 128. And that will give me that. And then last but not least, we have the Q70. Okay. The Q70, we need 8. Okay. I'm going to keep the oldest, which is 5 at 160. Okay, so I have 8 left. I kept 5 of those, so I need 3 more to complete my 8, and I'm going to get them from my next oldest, which is this one right here. So I'm going to get 3 at 170. That will give me 510. Okay, so that is my everything that I have so far. So now I'm going to get my total. So I'm going to add my total units. And I've got 56, just like I do over here. Regardless of the method you use, you should always have 56 or the quantity that that they outlined here. Okay, and the total for my inventory using my ending inventory using the LIFO method, you add all those together, and it gives me 98.45. Okay. So under FIFO, I've got 56 units valued at 10,700. Under LIFO, I've got 56 units and they're valued at 98.45. Okay. Now, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're getting the weighted average cost. Okay. Now, there's a lot of calculations included within this method. Okay. So what I did is I created a little template down here. You should be able to print when you're working on your problems, print the problem out. I don't like to scroll back and forth, so I actually have a printout of this in front of me. As I'm working on it, I have it available. That way I don't have to be scrolling up and down. All of this information is going to be used down here. Okay. So now for the weighted average cost method, I have to calculate all of my totals for each of the models. Okay. So, this is what's going to happen. I set them up, model A10, model B15, E60, G83, J34, M90, and Q70. Okay? And we have to figure out the average cost per model. Okay? Per model. Because we have different products, and each of those products has different prices. So we can't just add them and divide them like we did in the other one. The other one was just one product. Here we have different models of the product, so we have to get our average cost per model. Okay, so what's going to happen, and I'm going to illustrate, I'm going to slide up and then slide down so you can see what I'm doing here, and then I'm just going to work off of what I have. That way I don't waste too much time going up and down. But the logistics is the same. Okay, so you're told that for model A10, you need to have 6 units left of your inventory. Okay, you're going to use this data. All I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that data down over here. Okay, so for my model over here, I don't have any beginning inventory, so my beginning inventory will be 0. Okay, I don't have any beginning inventory. Okay, for your first purchase, you've got 4 at 64. Okay, 4 at 64, and then that's going to give you, you multiply them, 256. Okay, then you've got 4 at 70. That's your second purchase, 4 at 70. Okay, that's going to give you 280. And then you have 4 at 76. Okay, 4 at 76. That gives you 304. So all I did was multiply 4 times 64, 4 times 70, 4 times 76. And then we're going to get our total. Okay, so I'm going to add them together. Okay, and how many units did I have? Well, I had 12 units. So I had 12 units. The cost is $840. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the 840 and I'm going to divide by the total units, which is 12. Okay, and that gives me a per unit value of $70. Okay, so that is my average cost. Okay, weighted average cost for model A10. So my weighted average is 70. I divide your total cost over your total units. So my weighted average is $70 per unit. Okay. Now that I know that, I can start putting in my information over here. Okay. So I've got model A10. Okay. And I know according to the problem, I need to have 6 units left. So I'm going to have 6 units. My unit cost is my weighted average, which we calculated at $70. So that's going to be 6 times 70. Okay. That'll give me 410. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for the next one and all of the rest. We're going to go to B15 now. Okay. Now B15 does have a beginning inventory. I've got 8 at 176 and then 4 at 158. 3 at 170 and 6 at 184. So I'm going to transfer that information over down here. So it's 8 at 176, 8 at 176, and then we just multiply. Okay. Then for my first purchase, I've got 4 at 158. 4 at 158, and then I've got 3 at 170, 3 at 170, and then my third purchase is 6 at 184, 6 at 184, and then we get a total for your units. Okay. I've got 21 units and my total cost is $36.54. Now we can get our weighted average cost, and then that's going to be your $36.54 divided by 21. That's going to give me a unit cost of $174. Okay, so for model B15, okay, how many did we have left? We had 8 left. And my unit cost is $174, which is what we calculated there. So my total is $13.92. Okay, and we're going to continue with the next one, model E60. Model E60 had 3 at 75 for our beginning inventory. So we had 3 at 75. And we multiply those together. Okay. And then my first purchase was 3 at 65. Okay. My second purchase was 15 at 68. And then my third purchase was 9 at 70. Oh, sorry, wrong cell. 9 at 70. Okay. And then we add together all of your units for that particular model. I've got 30 units and my cost is, we add them together, 2070. Okay, to get your weighted average cost, we are going to get the 2070 divided by my 30 units, and that's going to give you $69. So, model E60. How many units did we have? We had 5 remaining. Okay? And then we calculated the weighted average cost of $69. So 5 times 69 will give you $345. The next model is G83. G83 had beginning inventory of 7 at 242. 7 at 242. Okay. And I'm just going to drag the formula down. There we go. And if you do it in Excel, it's just so easy because you can just do the math within the cells. You don't have to be using a calculator because a lot of students sometimes have issues when they use a calculator. They transpose a number or something. Okay. So model G83, we've got our first purchase, 6 at 250. 6 at 250. My second purchase, 5 at 260. And I'm going back so you can see where I'm getting my numbers. So we're looking at G83, third purchase. G83, third purchase, we have 10 at 259. So now we get our total units and our total cost. And now we can calculate our weighted average. And we're going to get the cost, the total cost, which is $70.84, divided by your total units, which are 28. And that's going to give me a weighted average cost of $253. Okay. Now this is model G83. Okay. And for G83, we had 9 units left. Okay. So we've got 9 units at $253. That is what we calculated. That'll give me $22.77. Okay. The next model we have is model J34. Okay. J34. For J34, we have beginning inventory of 12 at 240. Okay. So we've got 12 at 240. And we multiply those together. That gives me $28.80. And then we're doing which one? J34. My first purchase was 10 at 246. 10 at 246. Okay. My second purchase, 16 at 267. And then my third purchase, 16 at 270. Okay. And then we can get our total units. So it's not difficult, it's just time consuming. You're just repeating the same process over for each of the models. It's just time consuming. Okay, once you get your units, total units and your total cost, you divide. So we're going to divide the 13,392 divided by the 54, and that will give us 258. Okay. So for J34, we have 15 units left. And we calculated a weighted average cost per unit of $258. Okay. The next one we have is model M90. Okay. So M90 has the beginning inventory of 2 at 108. Okay. Then you multiply them. And then I'm just going to, once you do the formula on one cell, you can just click it in that little corner and bring it down. Okay. And then it'll automatically calculate the formulas for you. Okay. My first purchase, okay, M90, my first purchase was 2 at 110. 2 at 110. My second purchase was 3 at 128. And then my third purchase was 3 at 130. Now I can get my total units, which were 10, and my total cost, was 1210. Now to get our weighted average cost, we're going to get our total cost divided by our total units, and that gives me 121. So for model M90, how many units did I have left? I had 5 left. Okay, and we calculated for M90 a weighted average cost of 121. Okay. The last unit we have is model Q70. Okay. Q70 has beginning inventory of 5 at 160. Okay, and we're going to multiply those. So the process is the same for all of the models. It's just the amounts, the units, and the costs change for each. Okay. Okay, then we have 4 at 170. Okay. And then we have 4 at 175. And then last but not least, we have 7 at 180. And then we get our total for our units. And then we get our total for our total cost. Okay. Once we have that, we can calculate our weighted average cost. We're going to get our total cost divided by our total units. And that gives me, did I do that right? Which one am I doing? Q70. 5 at 160, 4 at 170, 5 at 160, 4 at 170, and then 4 at 175. Yes, and then we have 7 at 180. 7 at 180, okay. So we've got 5 at 160, 4 at 170, 4 at 175, and 7 at 180. So that's, let me just get a calculator out real quick. So that'll be 5 plus 4 plus 4 plus 7. That'll be 20 units. So my formula is probably not picking up that last one. Yes, you see, when you work in Excel, you have to make sure that it's picking up all of them. Okay, that number didn't look right. Okay, so I've got 20 units at a total cost of $34.40. So that gives me a weighted average cost of $172. Okay, so we're doing the last one, which is model Q70. Q70, and how many units did I have left for Q70? I had 8 units left. So I had 8 units at $172 a piece. That's my weighted average cost. That's going to give me $13.76. Okay, so now I can get my total. So my total units, I'm going to add them together, and that's 56, which should be for all 3 methods. And then my total cost is $10,285. Okay, so we have calculated the ending inventory value using FIFO, LIFO, and weighted average. So under FIFO, I had 56 units valued at $10,700. You sell the oldest, you keep the newest. Under last in, first out, we sell the newest and we keep the oldest. We had 56 units at $98.45. And then the weighted average cost method, we have once again 56 units valued at $10,285. Now, depending on the type of business that you have is the method that you're going to choose. Once you choose a method, that is the method that you have continued using throughout, the life of the business. If you plan on changing from method to method, you have to include that or disclose that in your financial statements, the reason why you're making the change and effective what date. And you can't be switching up your mind every month. Okay, so make sure that you analyze and you determine which of the methods you would be using or which method works best for your business or what you're trying to portray in your financial statements. So inventory is an asset account. So if on the 3 methods, you would be, depending on what is it that you want to be showing on both your cost of goods sold and your ending inventory, whether you want to show a high cost or a high dollar amount, for your ending inventory, in this case 10,700, or you want to show a low cost of your inventory at 98.44, 98.45, or in between. Okay, this is a good method to use, but it is very time consuming, as you can see, and it depends on how many models or different types of products you have. It can get tedious. Okay, a lot of people don't use the weighted average. Most of them use LIFO or FIFO, depending on the type of business that they have. Now, that takes care of requirements 1, 2, and 3. Now, requirement 4 says, discuss which method, FIFO or LIFO, will be preferred for income tax purposes in the periods of rising prices and declining prices. So, let me put that here. Excuse me. So it says during period, let me format this so it can be on the left hand side. Okay. So during periods of rising prices, which is what we saw here in this particular example, we saw the prices go up from 64 to 70 to 76, 158 to 170 to 184. The prices are going up here. Okay. During the periods of rising prices, okay, the LIFO method would result in a lower cost of inventory, okay? A greater amount of cost of goods sold and a lesser amount of net income than the other two methods. Okay. For Dymac, for this particular company, Dymac Appliances, okay, the LIFO method would be preferred for the current year because it will result in a lesser amount of income tax. Okay. So if we look, there's during periods of rising prices, the LIFO method would result in a lower cost of inventory. So if we look at LIFO would give you a lower cost of inventory, which it did. It would give you a higher cost of goods sold. Therefore, you're going to have lower net income, lower taxes. Okay. Now, now during periods of declining prices, okay, the FIFO method will result in a lesser amount of net income and would be preferred for income tax purposes. But like I said, you need to be very careful when you select, if you have a business, which method to use, because you can't be just 1 month this, 1 month not, the other one. No, you have to kind of have a general idea of which method works best for my business, my type of business. Okay. Now, like some of these businesses, they might have perishable items where, they have expiration dates. Maybe like technology. Technology is constantly, evolving. You want to make sure that you always sell your oldest first and you keep the newest. If you have a technology, a computer, or a telephone, you don't want to sell the newest and keep the oldest, because the oldest are going to become obsolete and then you're not going to be able to sell them. So depending on the type of industry that you have is maybe the method that you would choose. Okay. Maybe if you're selling fruit, okay, what happens to fruit or any food? They're perishables. You want to make sure you sell the oldest and you keep the newest. There's some other items that it doesn't really matter. Like for example, wood. It doesn't have an expiration date and you can store it for long periods of time. Anything of like metal or anything of that nature, that it really doesn't matter. You have a constant turnover, and it doesn't matter if you get rid of your old batch or your first batch. You can make a selection based on what purpose you want to have on your, or impact on your financial statements. Okay, now I want to emphasize that this problem 6.5, is super important because you're gonna have it on your test. So make sure that you listen to this lecture carefully. You make sure that you understand where I'm getting all of my numbers, and everything is coming from here. It's just a matter of identifying, am I keeping my newest or am I keeping my oldest? Okay, and then work backwards from there. Okay, the one that's a little bit more challenging is the weighted average cost method, but I've got all of my calculations here of how I did it. To get the weighted average cost, let me put a notation here. Weighted average cost is equal to your total cost divided by the total units. Okay, that way you know what the formula is for how we're getting the weighted average cost for each one. So once you figure out your totals, you just get the 840 divided by the 12, the 3654 divided by the 21, and it gives you this number right here. Okay, so this is the last part of the problem that I'm going to be going over. There's a lot of examples that I provided in your homework so you can practice. Like I said, this is accounting, and accounting we learn by doing, not just by reading and listening. You know, you need to read and then apply what you have read to actual application on the actual problems. Okay, if you have any questions while you're working any of your homework problems, please send me an email or a Blackboard message, whatever works best for you, and I will try to respond as soon as possible and provide guidance. I want to see what you're doing so I can be able to guide you. Be specific on your questions, that you, whenever you send me a message, you know that you're having issues, so I can be able to understand the question and be able to provide you with an answer. So that is basically it for this chapter 6 lecture. Until next time.